Rich Webster and I are huge Survivor fans.
Huge Survivor fans. So just a preface here, for the beginning of this segment. If you are someone who is hearing us talk about Survivor and you're like, wasn't that show on 10 years ago and why is anyone watching it anymore?
It's on its 30th
Survivor is amazing, okay? So I am a huge Survivor fan. I introduced Richard Fowler to the resurgence.
You didn't introduce me to Survivor.
Okay, well, you returned to Survivor, as many people do. There's a reason that Survivor has been on for over 30 seasons. It's because it is amazing. It's not like one of these crappy shows that's just on because stupid people watch it, like The Amazing Race. That show's terrible. Survivor is amazing. And if you are not watching it, you need to do it right now, which leads us to the story that we are talking about in this segment. Richard, please.
Oh, you want me to tell the story?
Intro. I mean, I can tell it. But.
So this season is called Game Changers, and all of the characters, or all of the contestants, have been on in previous seasons, and the reason why they've been rechosen is because the producers deemed them to be game changers, hence the title. So, takes us to today. So, in this particular episode, one of the game changers named Zeke, picture behind us if you're watching this on the internet, if you're listening to this on the radio, he was in the Millennial versus Gen X season.
Which was the previous season.
Which was the previous season. He was a game changer there. Didn't win, game changer. Anyway, and as you know, Survivor ends every episode with the tribal council where they vote somebody off, right? And they say, you know, the tribe has spoken. You will not be the sole survivor. So anyway, but as you know, when you go to tribal council, usually Jeff Probst, who's the host, he asks people some questions to sort of figure out where they are. Yep. And remember, Jeff gets to see all the on-raw edited footages. So there you have it. Anyway, takes us to last week's episode. So they're at the tribal council, and Zeke, this character here, Varner, who was a former character, he had no alliances. Sandra,
so Jeff Varner was the guy who was on the outs. He was on the chopping block. He was very desperate. He knew he was going home, and he wanted to throw up a last-minute Hail Mary to just see if he could throw someone else under the bus. And that is where the story that has captured, I mean, non-Survivor fans across the country and across the world this week.
Right. So he was trying to save himself. And while trying to save himself, and he's also gay, so he's part of the LGBTQ community, he outed another member of Survivor. So Zeke, we find out last week, is transgendered. But he, basically, Zeke had hidden his transgender status for almost 2 seasons, a season and a half.
Exactly. And Jeff Varner was the only person he told on Survivor.
Yes, he was the only person he told, but the reason being is how Zeke sort of sees this is, I don't want people to see me as a transgendered survivor. I want people to see me as Zeke, the survivor, the person not based upon my gender identity. So that brings us to this tribal council. So Varner, in order to save himself, outs Zeke, and the world goes crazy. Not only do all the contestants start crying and...
Oh my God, it was so offensive. So his, the way that he phrased it and the way he thought he was going to couch this outing was he was like, you guys all need to take a look at Zeke. Zeke, why haven't you told anyone that you're transgender?
And he thought people were going to be like, oh my God, Zeke,
Zeke's lying to us.
And but it did not go that way. It went the opposite direction.
Which, I mean, if you how do you screw up that bad? It was insane.
It was insanity.
So, basically, Jeff Varner gets told off by every other member of the tribe. People are crying. Zeke, which is so sad, is just sitting there.
Stoic, very stoic.
Like in shock, basically.
But he was I found Zeke was very, in my opinion, I found Zeke to be very stoic.
I don't know. He looked like he was in shock.
I thought him stoic.
I mean,
that's what I'm going for.
So anyway, everyone is upset. Over the course of the next 10 minutes, Jeff Varner starts to realize oh my God, I literally just ruined my entire life, and I just outed another member of the LGBT community. I mean, and let's be clear here, folks. Outing someone, whether they're gay, lesbian, transgender, okay. I mean, it's beyond not okay. It's like the cardinal sin, right?
It is.
I mean, it's like baseline, especially as a gay person, you should know.
Don't out anybody.
Don't out anybody. So the conclusion is everyone shows their support for Zeke, and resounding, and this has never happened before on Survivor, Jeff Probst, the host, just says, so I think we're all in agreement that
it's time for
Jeff
Varner
is going
to go home. So they don't even vote.
Which has never happened before.
Ever.
Jeff just goes, You voted. You want Varner out. You want Varner out. You want Varner out. Everyone's like, yep, 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 yep.
And Varner goes. No vote. No cauldron. Nothing. But this was shocking. I mean, not only to Survivor watchers who were like. Because that's what I would.
I mean, this is why Survivor is so good. I mean, this is just social commentary at its finest, right? I mean, Survivor is a show about surviving on an island, but the themes and the things that they touch on, you know, whether it's this outing, which is just such like a perfect example of. I mean, I don't know. It's just so good lessons.
So I mean,
right?
I think here's the thing. I think people like why you watch Survivor, because Survivor is about, when you boil it all down, it's about humanity in its rawest form. Because if you take away all the luxuries and the modernizations that we have, like, air condition, water from a tap, flushing toilet, all the stuff that, and also you take away all the technology that sort of blind us from human interaction.
Right.
Headphones, cell phones, cable television, Netflix, Amazon Prime, I go on, and you put 30 people in the middle of the jungle with nothing, with the bare basic necessities to survive, you start to see humanity. Yep. So you start to see love, hate, survival, right? You start to see all of these pieces, right, play itself out, which is what makes the show so artful, is because you really get to see humanity. Right.
I mean, it literally has nothing to do with them surviving on an island, which makes it so good. That's the best part of the show.
You see humanity, and you see like people trying to like, okay, how can I gain total trust from a stranger?
Right.
Which is what makes the show so good.
It's absolutely amazing. So this was like, I mean, this is a historic episode of Survivor. It's certainly one of the best episodes. I mean, obviously it was heartbreaking seeing it go down, but I mean, it's just why Survivor. I mean, because the actual act was so like terrible and devastating, but then just seeing everyone else like get behind Zeke was pretty heartwarming. And then, for those of you who don't know or are not keeping up, the kind of silver lining here is
Zeke stays.
Well, obviously Zeke stays, but Jeff Varner lost his job last week. So that's what you get for outing someone. I mean, obviously it's a mistake he's going to regret for the rest of his life. But I think it's important to send a message.
Now the question becomes, I mean, the season's still going on, so the question becomes, does this make Zeke, like, I think this almost guarantees Zeke to be, so at the end of the show.
I disagree.
No, I didn't make my point yet.
Make your point, because I'm trying to read your mind, and we might actually agree.
At the end of the show, beyond picking the winner of Survivor, the fans pick a fan favorite.
Oh, okay.
Right, and that person gets like $100,000, I think.
Yeah.
I think this outing of Zeke makes him a guarantee to get the fan favorite.
I mean, I'll be giving my vote. I thought you were going to say, and this is a conversation I had with my girlfriend, was will other players give Zeke sympathy votes moving forward? And I think I agree with Richard, where, I mean, the best way that you can honor the game that Zeke is trying to play as just a person, as Zeke, the human being,
giving him sympathy
is
votes.
to just play the game.
But with that being said, I do believe, now you have to really watch this. So if you're like a Survivor Insider, you're loving this video. If you're not a Survivor Insider, I'm sorry.
No, start watching it.
But
it's on Hulu.
I do believe that if Zeke makes it to the final 3, he could peel off some votes because he's transgender.
I mean, that's
because then that's when he gives a sob story. Like, that's when he tells his transition story.
Oh man!
As part of his 3-minute thing. Like, I was a woman, and then I realized I wanted to be a man, and I had to come out to my parents, and then like everybody's crying, and that's how he went. Now the question is who he goes to the final 3 with. My gut I want Michaela to go to the final 3, but I don't think she's gonna make it.
I don't think she.
Maybe Sandra will. Not Sandra.
Sandra's out.
Not Sandra, the other chick, the new, like, Michaela mentor. I forgot her name. The other black chick, and it's escaping me right now. With the braids.
Oh, I don't know what her name is.
I don't know. I just hope that Deb doesn't make it to the finals.
She's not going to make it to the finals.
She's got to go.
Anyway, we could actually get deep into Survivor. If you really like this Survivor discussion, maybe we'll make it a recurring segment, and you all can just deal with it. If you don't like it, we'll put it at the end of the show.